this weekend I went to Orlando Megacon, and it was a great event. I've never been to a con that big. It was huge. It was tons of people. I'd like to go next year for 2 days, so that way I could do like one day to walk around, see everything, get signature autographs, and visit the artists, and then maybe another day go shopping. But I did pick up a lot of great deals on graphic novels, so I figured I'd just show off what I got. So first thing I picked up was My Friend Dahmer by Durf Backdurf. And I've heard a lot about Backdurf, and I know he's had a lot of critically acclaimed graphic novels. I know this was put into a movie. This was $5. It looked like it was a good deal. I've read about it, excuse me. And honestly, at $5 or less, even if I don't like the graphic novel, it's not like I put a ton of money into it, but I think I'll like this. So this is the first thing I picked up. At that same table, I got this. I never saw this before, but it's called Autobiographics. It's a Dark Horse collection of short pieces that are autobio. This is from 2003. This is, I think, at that peak of when autobio was in, everybody was doing it. The thing about this is that this has short stories, but I'm just going to read off some of the list of the talent that's on here. Frank Miller, Sergio Aragonis, Will Eisner, Jason Lutz, Bill Morrison, Eddie Campbell, Fabio Moon and Gabriel Ba, Stan Sakai. Just really interesting talent. So this was $4. So like I said, for $4, you start off with a black and white Frank Miller story from over 20 years ago, and then just all different types of autobios. So for $4, I think this was a pretty good deal. Great condition. Looks like it's never even been opened. So I don't know if that means it wasn't any good or they just couldn't move it in their store, but I thought for $4 it was worth it. Okay. Next, I picked up this graphic novel, The Lagoon by Lily Kare, or Kara, not sure, and I apologize for assassinating your name. I've never heard this book. This was $5 again. This actually is funny. It actually has like a little, press release that was tucked into it. So I don't know if there's like a promo copy, but brand new, looked interesting. And again, $5. Hard to say no at that price. And again, if I don't really dig it, I'm not familiar with the cartoonist at all. But again, it's one of those things where you can experiment and try something different. This is also from a few years ago. Okay. Next, I got this book, Taxi, by Amy DeJong. And it's another autobio, and this is also another old autobio. I'm gonna get the year here. This is from 2019, so it's a European graphic novel that I got translated into English, and I always enjoy European graphic novels. So the premise is that it's the cartoonists, 4 different cab rides they take in and kind of like points in their life and things they learned and that sort of thing. So I like the art. I kind of like the look of this thing. Again, it's like $5. Hey, it's worth it. The cover really sold me. I mean, when I'm there, I did look it up a little bit on the net to see, generally what it was about and all that. But the cover just really sold me. Just really effective cover, I think. Then I found this. This is an issue of Star Trek New Visions. This was the series that John Byrne was doing, where he was getting images from the original Star Trek show, and he was using Photoshop to create new stories. And this is the last thing that I know of that John Byrne's done that's been published. And I think this ended, I'm gonna say 2-3 years ago, maybe more. But these were $7.99. I got this for $3. But they weren't bad, actually. And it's just kind of interesting because, John Byrne is like Jim Shooter, but I think more talented, but it's a guy who's immensely talented, but has burned every possible bridge that they can find in comics, and basically can't be hired. Marvel won't touch them, DC won't touch them, and this is the last thing he did for IDW. And apparently, I think it ran 27 issues. He wanted to do the last one 28, but IDW was like sort of like, nah, you know what, we don't need any more. But I'm pretty sure that this is quite good. And let me see when this was. This was 2018. So this, I think, ended around just before the pandemic or around the pandemic. Edited by Chris Ryle, who used to be the head of IDW. And again, as you can see, there's a lot of images that they took from the show that are put together in very good Photoshop. But I thought this was a good pickup for $3. And then lastly, I picked this up, Stray Bullets, David Lapham, the first volume of the series. This is a smaller trade. This is not the huge trade, but I've liked David Lapham ever since he was doing work with Valiant. I know that he's a good writer, good cartoonist. This is something that I've heard about for years being a great series. I've never read it. So I figured for $5, it was a great way to get my feet wet. And I know they sell the large omnibuses. So I'm gonna, basically, this is an audition to see if I'm interested in reading the rest of the series. But great shape, can't beat it for $5. So I went to another table, and after scouring, I bought a couple of things. One, Fun with Milk and Cheese. Now, I've heard about this series, Milk and Cheese. I have no idea what it is. I know that back in the day when this was printed in the 90s, I would have not read this. And I think this came out by the time that I stopped reading comics. I went like a 7-year sabbatical. And so I really don't know. I mean, Evan Dorkin, I haven't read much of Evan Dorkin, but the name has a lot of prestige and people talk about it very fondly. A lot of people look at this very fondly. This was the third printing from Slave Labor Graphics, and this was from 1995. So this is literally 30 years old. Great shape. Like I said, I don't know what any of this is about, so I'm gonna try it out and see. This is sort of like another audition. And then at that other table, I bought this, The Complete Mouse. I have book 2. I got it for like $1 at Goodwill, but I've been trying to find book 1. And I saw this and I really want to read it. I mean, I like Art Spiegelman. I know how highly lauded this is. And I think in this day and age, we all should be reminded of what Nazis really do and the horrors they instilled on the world, especially in Europe. So I'm really looking forward to this. This looks really good. The paper is great. Just really look great. I can't wait to read this. And I know, I'm sorry, I've never read it. I know I won a Pulitzer Prize. I understand all that, but you know, you can't just read everything. But this was a really good pickup. This was 15. I'm not sure what the retail is on this, but the retail's here. Retail's $35. So 15, brand new. Thought it was a really good deal. I'm looking forward to reading this. Then I went to another table that had a ton of graphic novels and trade paperbacks, but there was nothing there, and I looked everywhere. They had a lot of manga, but there was just nothing there that was interesting to me. So what I did was I went around looking at other places, other stalls, but that stand, that table, it kept calling back to me. I kept thinking I was missing something. I don't know what it was. I came back missing something. So I went back and I picked up a couple of things. First of all, I picked up A Sister. This is by Bastien Vives. He's a French cartoonist who has got into a lot of controversy in the past few years in France. But there's other stories like Chlorine and Paulina, that Paulina I think was made into a movie. I read The Blouse, which I reviewed last year, which I thought was an excellent book. So I've been looking at this for a while, and this is a remaindered copy. So this was $4, and it looks brand new and really looking forward to reading this. This book probably take no time to read. I like it. I like the stories that he writes. They have a certain interesting quality to them. So I was really happy to pick this up, especially for $4. I mean, even if I hate it, it's only $4. And then before I left, I picked this up. And let me adjust this a little bit. This is The Lonesome Go. This is a Tim Lane book that came out in 2014. Now, Tim Lane is someone that I've only discovered recently from being published in Fantagraphics Now magazine, and also he's had a couple of issues of Mythologies and Apocrypha featuring his work. I know he's working on this Steve McQueen graphic novel, and I've seen this before, but you know, it's one of these things like, oh, that'd be kind of cool to have get if I ever see it, you know. But you know, there's so many books that if you don't get it because you got something else. But I just became a huge fan of Tim Lane's work, and just the cartooning and the art here is just phenomenal. This detail, good writer, tells really good stories. This is just something that I thought about. I like this too because it has these occasional like fold outs, but they're fold out like this. There's just so much work and so much detail, so much love put into this thing that, you know, I saw this, I thought, oh man, you know, so it was funny because I didn't see anything there, walked away, and then something kept telling me I should go back, I should go back, I should go back. So this is the second of the 2 books I picked up there. Just really great work. Just a fantastic artist, fantastic cartoonist. And yeah, I got a little glue stick. I think the glue is, but you know what? That's really easily solvable after I finish reading it. But anyway, this is a book I think is out of print. And I'm glad I found it brand new condition. I was really happy to have gotten this. Then after walking around a little bit and, you know, looking at this, looking at that, I passed by a comic book table that I hadn't seen before. So I was looking and they had half off graphic novels. And I found this by Nicole Gu. Now, the only reason I picked this up is because Sean from Athenaeum Art, sorry, Sean, he represents her original art sales. So I know he interviewed her on his YouTube channel, and I've heard a lot about her. So I figured, this came out in 2023, so I figured, I looked at it, I like this use of the black shades of red and the white. It's a really effective, when done right, it's really effective color scheme. So anyway, I just thought, you know, I've heard a lot. You know, I love reading the old stuff, but you gotta read the new stuff too. Keep everything fresh. So this was $8, it was half off. So I just thought that was a great deal and I really couldn't resist. And you would think that was it. But wait, there's more. The next day after we left, when we drove home on Sunday, I went with my oldest son, Chris, who's 29. And I said, you know, there's this comic and used bookstore in West Palm Beach. It's on the way back. So we went there and I picked up this. Now, this is something that I have been going to that store to look for. I picked up a lot of great graphic novels on the cheap, stuff that's like 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 years old, on the cheap. Really great stuff. And I went today and I really didn't see anything new that appealed to me. I think for what I'm interested in, I think I've taken most of what I would be interested in. But I've been seeing this book there for the last 3 years. It's been wrapped in plastic. I think the stamp, I used one of those old school pricing guns, and it was from 2000, the sticker from 2016. This is John Byrne's X-Men Book 1 hardcover edition. And what makes this interesting is that there's 1,000 of these, and each one has a bound signature page. This is number 301. And this, when it came out in 93, March of 93. So this is almost 32 years old. This was $49.95, which back then was a lot of money for any kind of comic related anything. And the current, I guess, eBay price was between $50 and $60, plus a lot of shipping. So it really turns out to be like low 60s to close to 70. I was able to get it for 50, just cash. I know he never finished the series because I read a story, something to that fact that he was getting divorced and his wife would have a claim on some of the profits for existing work at the time. So he said he wasn't going to do this ever again because he didn't want to have his wife make a penny off of his work. So it's a shame because this was actually a pretty cool series. But this is more, the other volumes you can get, but I think this was more just to get, because I am a John Byrne fan. As far as a creator, cartoonist, he's amazing. And just because of the rarity of getting this is the first time I'd ever seen this book anywhere. You can find them on eBay for a lot more than $50. These books, this is the only time I've ever seen one in the wild. So I picked this up on the following Sunday. But when I got home, I had something that came in from eBay. So I thought I'd just kind of show it off. First, well, actually I got these two items. This is Alpha and Omega. This is a hardcover collection. This came out in 1994. This collects, okay, for any of you that know or actually care, when Valiant was publishing Solar Man of the Atom, let me get to here. These are the covers. This is actually the first Valiant comic cover I ever saw, and this kind of got me really interested in them because it's just so unique. What happened was that inside the insert there was this cardstock insert that told the origin of Solar. So you had this story going on, and then you had this character come from a parallel universe. And as the first 10 issues ended, you also had the full origin. This collects those inserts. And this was written by Jim Shooter and drawn by Barry Windsor Smith. And this is Barry Windsor Smith in the early 90s when he was doing independent work, and he was really putting his heart and soul in this. I know a lot of people rag on Valiant. I know that cartoonist kayfabe, especially Ed Piskor, used to always love to take dumps on Valiant. Some of the Valiant stuff was not good. Some of the Valiant stuff was very good. It just depended on if Jim Shooter was writing it, it was probably pretty good. If Barry Windsor Smith was on it, it was always good. So it was uneven at best. But I always enjoyed the story, and I'm a huge Barry Windsor Smith fan. So I was able to get this book, and this book comes in a slipcase. And I was also able to get volume 1 of the Unity Saga. Now, I'll admit that this crossover, as far as what the threat was, kind of sort of made sense, but this was kind of thrown in. So when I came home on Sunday, I opened this up, and the first chapter is written by Jim Shooter and drawn by Barry Windsor Smith. So, it always starts off well. And then you had, as you can see, uneven quality. You had John Dixon here, who was a pretty good old hand from the day. And then these little ending chapters were drawn by Barry Windsor Smith. And then this is Archer and Armstrong, which was drawn and had story by Barry Windsor Smith. And like I said, various levels of quality, and these are the chapters. So I don't know if I'm going to get the other volumes, but it was cool to have. And that's it. I got a ton of comics after complaining about having too many comics to read, and I don't know what I'm going to do, and I need to stop. I picked up a lot more. I think, but after this, I think I'll buy new books, but I think as far as buying anything like like, even if it's a good deal, I think I really need to stop. Because I'm not one of those people that just collect books and say, yeah, one day I'll read them. I actually do want to read them before I die. So these are the books I got. It's an eclectic mix, but if any of you have any thoughts or any suggestions or any comments about them, or if you've read about them, please let me know. I really get a lot out of when people put comments and, bring up a lot of things that I never considered. Anyway, thanks and have a good night.